Hello there.
What? Do you expect one of us to impersonate General Grievous now?
I don't know. You couldn't do it as good as my General Kenobi, though.
Oh,
I mean, I'll give you a little credit. It's definitely gotten better over the years.
Oh, I've had long enough to try to perfect it. That's for sure.
Way too long.
Yeah. But the wait for Obi Wan Kenobi in this series is almost done. We'll talk about that. Star Wars Rebels lovers dream of a trailer that came out last week, along with a very sad moment in Superman and Lois, and a surprising new Ryan Reynolds film. That's all next. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to it.
So after Ryan Reynolds just finished filming, can you say that's a wrap? Is Reynolds wrap?
No, that's terrible. Why do you do that? I'm not allowed to do the dad jokes on the show anymore, and yet you guys are doing all. He does all this
You don't
stuff.
get a reaction.
He didn't even. I didn't even get it at first. If you want to know the truth, he had to explain it to me. Anyway, welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast, the only fan podcast to name a canon Star Wars creature and to be endorsed by Ryan Johnson. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation. That there is a story; it is written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story. And that is why we were talking about all of the amazing Kenobi news we got last week. The death of a Superman, and the surprisingly thought-provoking film, The Adam Project. I am David. I'm the dad.
Hi, Dad.
And I'm honored to be joined every week by my two amazing sons. Sam, what are you talking about?
Well, the Adam Project was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Oh, nice. Throwing a Kenobi reference. That was good. All right. What about you, BB Nate?
That's not Kenobi. Hold on.
Oh, wait. No, that's not. You're right. It's Palpatine.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Gosh. All right. I couldn't let that continue. Anyway.
Yeah, I lose my Star Wars fan card.
You're out.
We're going to have to gatekeep.
Fired.
Me. Anyway, Nathan, what are you talking about?
The future of Superman and Lois is looking slightly bleak after this week's episode.
I think that there's like multiple layers to that statement on that. I'm not sure that I will be able to verbalize everything I'm feeling after that Obi Wan Kenobi trailer, but I'm sure going to try to do it. Thank you for listening to this show. We definitely appreciate it. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Tatooine Sons family. We are so excited that you're here. Please subscribe to the show or follow the show or whatever it is on your podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. If you are a returning member of the family, welcome home. Good to have you here. We're excited. I'm on the family kick today, I guess, with that, but we definitely appreciate having you as a listener on that. We want to thank our sponsor for this episode, The Hero's Journal. We're going to talk a little bit more about them later on. I am excited about the products that they offer. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show, guys. If you don't know this, we have 2 episodes a week. We do our Tuesday episodes, and then we have our Friday episode. And Friday episode is with Brian Godawa. We had him on the show back last December, I think. And we're excited to have him back on. You guys loved that episode. We got lots of messages on that one. He's back to talk about like crazy stuff. I think I called the episode when I edited it, Dragons, Demons, and Supernatural Strength.
Should have had another D. Like D&D.
It would have been, but it's D&D, which is fine, right? With that. So, but enough talking about what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
There you go. And you're up first this week.
I am up first this week because I get to talk about Kenobi. It's almost impossible to believe that we're just a couple of months away from getting Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back together in Obi Wan Kenobi. Last week, we finally got the trailer that everyone has been very impatiently waiting for. And we've got some reactions that have very little to do with the Grand Inquisitor's improperly shaped cranium.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
So did you see what they did to the end of the title of Obi Wan Kenobi, like the font and stuff? So. Did you guys see what they did? No. The last word, the last letter, the I in Kenobi.
Is it a lightsaber?
It's his lightsaber.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
That's cool. It's really pretty awesome on that. All right, so let's get into talking about this thing since we've been waiting for 20 years to talk about this series. So excited to have it. We were kind of cautiously optimistic going into the day last Wednesday that we might get something Kenobi related during the Disney investors call. That got amped up a lot when a new blue check Obi Wan Kenobi Twitter account appeared with the iconic "Hello there." I did it better this time.
That was better.
See, I wasn't thinking about it, and I did it better. Hello there.
I said hi.
Performance.
It is higher. You're right. BB-8 got it right. There was an argument between the boys about which way I should go, higher or lower. It's hello there. Yeah, I did it better. It is. It's higher. Anyway, but when the teaser dropped and we got to see it, I don't think we were ready for everything in that teaser. I want to know from you guys. I'll start with you, Sam. What was your gut level reaction after your first viewing of that trailer?
Well, I kind of watched it during the school day, and I was tired and all over the place that day, but it was really, really exciting when I saw first off, seeing the Inquisitors at all was exciting, but when they dropped the Grand Inquisitor in there, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I had no idea that they were going to bring that character in. Yeah, so that was a really cool touch. I was excited about that.
Okay, so that was your reaction. What else? Anything else that you were like reacting to the trailer when you saw it?
I mean, when I saw like young Luke, that was crazy too. I mean, we kind of expected it, but it was still crazy to see it at all.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. What about you, BB-8? What was your reaction? I was with you, but we didn't talk about it a ton.
No, we didn't, because we were probably trying to save it for this episode. But I do think that right after I watched it, I was like, okay, good trailer. And then I kind of I went on because it was a fantastic trailer. It was really good. It got me excited for a show I was already excited for. Seeing the Grand Inquisitor, the Fifth Brother, all that stuff made the Rebels fan of me very excited.
Oh yeah, the Fifth Brother. That's right.
But overall, I was like, all right, I still don't know where this show is going. I don't know what the point of it is yet. I don't know what the plot is. They showed us Obi Wan Kenobi and we're like, that's enough to get people excited. And it is. It really was. It did get me excited. I was excited about it. It's a great trailer. I'm just excited to learn more about it eventually. Okay.
So we can't talk about this trailer without talking about what everybody's saying right now, or at least about it. So, you know, as big, massive Star Wars Rebels fans, you know, we eat, sleep, and drink Rebels when we had the opportunity to watch it every single week. Your thoughts on the Grand Inquisitor, and you know, obviously his head is shaped differently, and you could go down all the normal paths with that. But what did you think about it?
I mean, it's in a way it's disappointing. It'd be different if we had only seen this kind of character in Rebels, because translation between animation and live action can always be iffy. But we've seen that species before, and they're always kind of thin. But I mean, ultimately, as I was watching the trailer, I'm like, he looks weird. And then I moved on anyway. I'm like, it's fine. And it would be cool to see them maybe have it a little more accurate, but it's still the Grand Inquisitor. We were able to tell it's the Grand Inquisitor. He's going to be the Grand Inquisitor in this. I'll get over it. It's not that big of a deal.
What about you, BB-8? You're the one that usually speaks sanity into our conversations about these things.
I think that people had to find something to complain about with this trailer, which is what we expect with Star Wars fans. I'd be disappointed if they didn't. But I think that they're really basing it off of two really awkward angles that we got of the Grand Inquisitor. Those shots aren't that great to tell what he's actually going to look like. I know that people are mainly using a certain shot where he's not having his lightsaber, but the one where he does have his lightsaber looks better because it's more head on. It is a down angle, and that is not a flattering angle, especially on an alien we haven't seen all that much in live action before. So I think that people need to wait until we see him more. wait till we see more of him in different lightings and different angles, and just be happy that he's in the show for a little bit.
I am.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm thrilled that he's in the show, and I'll get over it really fast, but I'm going to say that it was a little jarring.
It was. Oh, for sure.
With it. And then I didn't even make the connection to the fact that we'd seen this species in live action until afterwards when some people were saying it. And that does, you're right, Sam, it does make it a little bit more jarring because we know what that species can look like in live action. But in the end, there are things I didn't like about, can I go ahead and say it, the way that they did Luke Skywalker in both the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett. Everybody was super excited about the CG version of him in Book of Boba Fett. I had problems with some of the things that they did with him there too. Did it ruin my experience watching Luke Skywalker on screen again?
No, you're still excited.
Yeah, it doesn't change that at all.
The real question is, do we see the lightsaber helicopter?
Yeah, I think we have to. I think that all of them have those lightsabers. You can see that they're wearing them on their backs.
That's true.
You see the Grand Inquisitor use one.
I think that you can't have the Inquisitors in live action without doing that at least.
I really want to
once.
see it.
Yeah. My overall reaction for this trailer started in the very first moment when John Williams music,
the
his
music
score,
was so good in
and
this.
that moment where there's that, you know what I'm talking about on the trailer, and we're seeing. You know what I'm talking
You
about.
need to work on that one. Your hello there is pretty good.
Hello there.
That one.
I'm getting better. Hello there. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? If you need somebody to voice this, because Ewan needs to take a vacation,
just get Steven Stan. There you go.
Ouch, Nate.
It's James Arnold Taylor for this version of him.
That's right.
With it. So, but anyway, yeah, I was immediately hooked in that moment when the music started playing. And then
you saw Luke,
and I lost my mind. I was cheering. I was like, do you think Mom knew it was Luke?
I'm sure she did.
I hope so, because I was having a conniption fit.
You were jumping all over the place.
With it. I was pretty excited about it. I loved the trailer. It gave me everything I wanted. So I'm super excited to see where this goes. I'm curious from you guys, it's going to be impossible to mention all of the amazing little moments in this short, 1 minute and 46 second teaser. They jammed a whole lot into this. But what were some of your favorite moments? I'll start with you, BB Nate.
Oh, I definitely love the Rebels stuff. Because just seeing anything tying to Rebels, it makes me happy, because it wasn't as big of a show as Clone Wars. So they don't have a ton of reasoning to keep going back to it. It definitely didn't have as much impact.
Well, and there's more direct connections with Kenobi to the Clone Wars stuff.
And not Rebels. So yeah, exactly. So I was just excited to see them bring that stuff. I would be absolutely pumped if we did see Kanan and Hera before the whole Ghost crew is formed. The Phoenix Squadron. So
we saw them meet, or we know the story of their meeting from A New Dawn, which was the very first novel in the new canon of Star Wars. Most people don't realize that was
they all think it's Heir to the Jedi or something, Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, something like that. But the very first one was this one with that, and so it was super cool to see that. I think it would be hard in this time frame. We're 9 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to bring them in at least together in this.
Right.
You could bring in Hera as doing something or whatever, or Kanan individually, but bringing them both in is going to be really, really hard. But the Rebel stuff, is it any other favorite moments for you, BB Nate?
Not really. Not that I can remember.
Okay. Samuel the Hutt, what about you? Favorite moments in this trailer?
I'm trying to remember a lot of specifics, and it's kind of fuzzy because I've only watched it a couple times, and I think it was the day it came out, so it's been a little bit. But it was definitely exciting when I saw the Grand Inquisitor with his lightsaber out, and he was interrogating those civilians, or whatever. I think that's on what looks like Coruscant.
It's not Coruscant. It's one of the other planets. I don't remember what it's called, but they've already talked about what planets they were on that. But it looks like it might be Rex. It looks like Tamura Morrison's head.
Really?
When you look at the screen, or the image of it.
But yeah, him standing there in front of the civilians was pretty neat, and you really can't beat the fact that you saw, not only did you see Luke, but you saw Obi-Wan watching over Luke, which made it even more impactful, I think, because that's the whole reason he's there, and we're seeing him already do it.
when you're looking at Luke, if you watch the trailer, he's sitting, first of all, and I'm going to credit Star Wars Explained for doing my show prep for me, by Alex doing that great video with it. And then I want to credit New Rockstars for being so awesome that they were able to basically take the exact point by point description of Alex's and elaborate on it. So it was really good with that. But he's sitting on the hut.
Like a pod racer.
It's like he's in a pod racer, and he's got the goggles on, and it looks like
Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, I noticed it, but they brought it up, and so it triggered it back in my mind. But yeah, he's flying the pod racer like his dad. It's like little Anakin, now it's little Luke.
That's crazy.
With it, like father, like son. That was awesome. Duel of the Fates. When that starts playing, that got like the chills going all over with that. One of the other things that I think it was Alex mentions on Star Wars Explained is if you look at I think it was actually New Rockstars, Eric Voss said this. You look at where Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are standing at the hut, at their home, the homestead. First of all, they're wearing almost identical clothes to what they wear in A New Hope in this scene, with that. And they're standing in the exact spots where their bodies are charred later. I'm like, that's creepy.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So that was kind of nuts. Lots of favorite moments in there. But yeah, seeing Luke Skywalker,
of course,
is just
like how none of us.
I think the only thing we've seen of young Luke Skywalker at this point is that one scene in the Twin Sons episode when he's way off in the horizon running back to the hut. That's all we've seen of him so far.
Yep, absolutely. So we get to, we've seen him a lot more, and I just hope that, let me ask you this. Do you want them to have a lot of Luke Skywalker in this?
No.
Explain.
I really don't think that you need to. I think that would kind of drag the story a little bit too. There's not a lot of interesting stuff you can do with a young Luke. I
think you have him meet Ben once or twice because he's familiar with him in A New Hope, but more like I've seen that guy around the neighborhood a couple times, kind of familiar, not like he's my uncle kind of thing. I know he calls him Uncle Ben, but I think you have him come by and meet Luke once or twice, and that's about all you need. I don't think you have him show up too much or have the two interact too much.
I think that we may have a surprise coming into this episode. Maybe we'll talk about that in a portion of this segment a little bit later. But before we get that, a couple questions that have kind of been messing with Star Wars fans since this series was announced at D23 all the way in 2019.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was. The questions were if we'd see a young Luke and if Kenobi was going to leave Tatooine at some point. Both of those are answered in this teaser. So now that we can put those questions behind us, what are your questions about the series going forward? I'll start with you, Sam.
Why is he leaving Tatooine? I guess would be a start. We know he was there to tasked with watching Luke, and we know Luke never got off planet. From things he said. So it's not like he's following Luke. So why did he leave? Maybe he was forced out by the Inquisitors, or I don't know. There could be a myriad of reasons why he left, but I'm curious as to why what was so important for him to leave his post. The only reason he was on Tatooine to go to another planet.
Do you think he leaves his post in order to go after something, or he leaves his post in order to throw off the Inquisitors? Because the Inquisitors seem to be on Tatooine, like they're looking for him, and then he leaves planet. Do you think that he leaves there to try to draw them away from Tatooine so they don't find Luke?
I think that's a very real possibility. And I think that would make the most sense because that aligns with his mission. Otherwise, it's kind of
why do you leave?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think that would make sense.
Okay, what's your biggest question after this trailer, BB Nate?
I don't know. I really think that how big of a role is Owen going to have in this series?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We do see a lot of him in this trailer, and he's seeming to become pretty important, which I am excited about. I'd love to see more Owen, learn more about him, see interactions between him and Kenobi more. That'd be fantastic. But I do wonder how big of a role he will have in this series.
I think it's good that they're going to have a lot of Owen, and more specifically, a lot of Owen talk or interacting with Kenobi, because we can tell there's sort of like a bad blood between the two in episode 4.
So much so that in the the novelization of these things, and sort of in the prequel era, there was this understanding that they were brothers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's how much of a relationship that they had developed in the scripts, at least behind the scenes and stuff like that. So you want to see them have a lot of interaction.
Absolutely. I want to know why he's so against
Me too.
Luke, interacting with him or anything.
It's funny. Deborah Chow was interviewed about it, I think, after the trailer, or maybe it was in the Entertainment Weekly article that came out last week as well, where she says this. But she's basically like, I just want to thank George Lucas for having the foresight to cast Joel Egerton in this role 20 years ago, because he's such a big, he's a pretty decent actor, recognizable actor, and he's a great actor. And she gets to use him in this, which makes me think that there's a significant.
She's not going to let that talent go to waste. Not just
and in the comics, we know that there's a lot of interaction between Kenobi and Uncle Owen. There's that back and forth that goes on in the comics, where Owen basically tells Kenobi never to come back with this. Kenobi saves Uncle Owen in the comics from being attacked by Black Chrysanthemum, which now we're in that. We've got Black Chrysanthemum in this. That's where Kenobi gives him that scar that we saw in Book of Boba Fett. So that could be a big part of it. Here's
we see that happen.
I don't want to see it on screen.
Okay, I think
leave
that's
it for the comic.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But perhaps they reference it at some point with it. Here's what I think. You're talking about why is he leaving, and I've heard some others suggest this too. But I think this makes a lot of sense with it. The only reason he would leave Tatooine, I think, is if he's trying to lead these Inquisitors that are there away. And so he's doing that. But then my question is, does he leave in doing that? Is he leaving Luke vulnerable on Tatooine?
To what?
There's more than one Inquisitor that are there. They're hunting.
Do you think that he leaves Tatooine? Luke does get attacked, and Owen, that's what the bad blood is, because Obi-Wan wasn't there to protect him, and Owen's now really not happy that Obi-Wan wasn't there.
I don't think you can have the Inquisitors come after Luke, because that would get back to Vader.
That would tip their hand.
Right, exactly. Because the Inquisitors are underneath Vader's control. They're his task force, basically. I feel like if the Inquisitors catch on to Luke, that's going to get to Vader, and then that kind of screws up the entire plot of episode 4, like the rest of the original trilogy. So I don't think that happens.
Here's a theory that I heard that I want to get you guys' thoughts on. It doesn't have to be a big moment like, where it goes on for 2 or 3 episodes or is a whole episode about it. But what if Kenobi has to leave and he's still in contact with Bail Organa, because we know that relationship is still intact 9 years after this. Right. He sends a message to Bail Organa saying, I need someone to come and protect Luke while I get out of here and take them off the trail. And Bail Organa sends Fulcrum.
Ooh. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I think that could work well too.
Because who's Fulcrum?
That's Ahsoka.
So we didn't get the first meeting of Luke and Ahsoka in the Book of Boba Fett because it wasn't their first meeting. They knew each other. He just doesn't know she's a Jedi. She doesn't reveal that she's a Jedi. They're not revealing their Jedi in any of this. But she's like, she comes to watch.
Like a babysitter.
They may be, well, not even like where she's there with Uncle Owen. Like she's just in the background, like Kenobi's been doing, watching. And at some point, she interacts with him with it. And
do you think that's why he would have called her? Because maybe they knew each other.
I think it would make sense. Yeah. It would be a really fun.
I like that
idea.
Like you can babysit. You babysat me. Now I'm babysitting Grogu.
Exactly. With that. All right. So we've got
y'all.
We'll finish up the segment with this one. We've got about 2 more months before the series premieres, and we barely know anything about what to expect, like you guys were saying. But I'm not going to let us miss the chance here to speculate irresponsibly and make some predictions sure to go wrong. So based on what you know so far, what are your crazy predictions after seeing that teaser? BB Nate.
I don't know. There is so much unknown with this show still. I'm still really wanting to see a Hera. I think that it would work well. It would fit in with this series. The Inquisitors. I think that everything would. I don't think we could see Kanan, because then at that point, why wouldn't Kanan have brought Ezra to Obi-Wan and not Bear Sophie. So there's really no point for that. So I do think we could see Hera. And I really think that would work very well. And then there is...
Maybe Hera brings Fulcrum.
Maybe. And honestly, it does seem like Hera knows about Obi-Wan at least.
Well, she knows Fulcrum.
She knows Fulcrum, and she definitely knows something about Obi-Wan in the Twin Sons episode. She knows who he is.
Exactly.
So I do think that it would be highly possible to see a Hera.
I like it.
Absolutely freak out. And then that would allow him to get a live action Hera already established for the Ahsoka series.
There you go. Samuel the Hutt. Crazy prediction, sure to go wrong based on the trailer.
Ah, man. Based on the trailer, I don't know. I mean, overall, what I want to see happen is I want to see like some sort of forced FaceTime call between him and Vader in some way. Some really intense. Just once maybe through the series. Not a lot because they obviously haven't interacted too much by the time you get to episode 4. But some sort of interaction between the two. Because we know Vader's in this. It wouldn't make sense for them to have Vader in if there's not some sort of interaction between him and the main character.
Well, no, they're going to have a duel. They've already said that.
A duel?
Oh, yeah. They're going to battle. Well, that's why he's got to get off planet.
Oh. Okay. Well, then I guess that tops what I was wanting. So, no, I'm good. I don't know. But as for a prediction, I'm trying to think of something totally off the wall that I don't know. I mean, I'm so like cool with this series as it is. Like, I'm just happy for whatever we're getting, and I don't really have any. I mean, they brought in the Grand Inquisitor, like, and they've got Darth Vader. There's really not much more you could top this with, unless we saw like Darth Bane or something.
I think that here's my prediction, sure to go wrong, and so I think it actually is going to go right. I think you're going to
Han Solo. And the Crimson Dawn.
Let me tell you right now,
takes place
the new Mephisto. This takes place a year after Solo. And Solo was on his way to Tatooine. Not an unrealistic idea.
All right.
Maul could be involved in this sometime. Although there's
Alden Ehrenreich Solo, I'd be happy.
You can't see Maul. They haven't met. They haven't. Until the Twin Sons
he's going
episode.
off planet.
No, they literally haven't seen each other since Clone Wars.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think that that's actually established. But anyway.
I think it's established.
I do think that you could see an Alden Ehrenreich. I think there's a shot, or at least a Solo. I think there's a shot in one of the frames where it looks like there's a Wookiee on the edge of the screen.
I thought that Obi-Wan was in a shot of the trailer.
Oh, he was. They changed that.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
George Lucas called me and told me he made them change it. No, I'm kidding. It's going to open with a forced time call between him and Qui-Gon. He's going to be interacting with Qui-Gon.
Yeah, I want to see Ghost Qui-Gon.
That's when he's talking about it's over, we failed or whatever. He's actually talking to Qui-Gon.
I like it.
On that.
I like it.
All right, Obi-Wan Kenobi is going Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to break Disney Plus and maybe the whole internet on Wednesday, May 25th. And that is the 45th anniversary of the release of the original Star Wars, maybe taking that day off work. We're going to need a lot to distract us from this waiting game in the meantime. All right.
Good segment.
Thanks. We got some bad news coming.
Yes, we do.
Grace Randolph really got excited about Ben Affleck last week. Harry Potter is the next Wolverine. And ignore what the writer of the Batman actually said. Superman and Wonder Woman are part of the Battinson universe.
Hard time saying that.
I can't say that word today.
Battinson.
Battinson. Max Headroom moment there. That's next on Bad News.
This is not going to go the way you think.
All right. So we've all taken our first steps in our quest using the Heroes Journal. I'm curious to see where we're going on this. Sam, what are you on a quest for over the next 90 days?
Yeah, my quest, I chose to improve my self-discipline. I got a lot coming up soon on my plate, especially time-wise. So I'm going to have to learn how to time manage better and just prioritize things.
Yeah, you've got college,
and internship,
podcast, internship,
family,
girlfriend.
Yeah, all that. So I got to learn to manage it well.
So okay. So you're using the Hero's Journal as kind of a quest towards
better self-discipline.
Awesome. BB Nate, when we talked about it for a few minutes at the end of last week, you're kind of having a little bit of trouble coming up with what you wanted your quest to be. Were you able to decide on anything?
Actually, no. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not quite sure what to do quite yet. And so I don't really know what my quest should be.
Which is not a problem, because that's, one of the things we joined the group on Facebook for the people that use this journal. And one of the things that we're saying, sometimes you don't even, you start your quest before you even know where you're going with it. Exactly. And so that's going to be, it'll be interesting to watch you go through this process as you do this and see how that works out. You guys have both had a few days to try it out. What are your thoughts on how the journal works?
I really like it. It's a great way to kind of just start out the day. It's refreshing, kind of just, it makes everything palatable, I guess.
Explain what you mean.
It controllable, I guess, is a good way. You're like, you can look at it now. You can okay, this is what I have to do today. So it helps out with that kind of a situation. It's also just nice to have something like that, and to write down thoughts and everything. It's really nice to have that.
Awesome. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I love it. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous at first apprehensive at first, because I'm like, I'm already not a morning person, and waking up a little earlier to journal was a little worrisome at first. But now that I've started doing it, I actually really enjoy doing that as the start of my day. It really helps me get in the right mindset for stuff. So I enjoy that, and I've noticed an improvement already. I've better segmented my time throughout the day, and I've prioritized certain things better than instead of just getting stuck on my phone sometimes. So I actually really like it.
That's cool. Yeah, I've been using it for a little over a week now, and it has taught me some things about the way I think. It teaches me some things about my time management and what I prioritize. I think I even mentioned this to you guys at the end of last week when we were talking about this. That you have your three big. I don't know what they're not called tasks. I don't remember what they're called.
So that's just called Seize the Day.
The Seize the Day section, which is your three big things that if you accomplish those three big things during the day, you can go to bed at night and say, I did what I was planning on doing that day. And there's one of them that's got a little frog next to it, which is this reference to a Mark Twain quote where he says, I think it's Mark Twain.
Yeah, you're right.
Where he says, if you have to eat two frogs, eat the biggest one first. And so the idea is, what's your most important priority for the day? The most important thing that you have to do, get that done first. What I found myself doing the first few days was putting this thing on there and I'm going to reveal mine on the next episode. I'm not going to reveal yet because I want to give people a chance to kind of get in there with this. But, I put my thing on my first priority on there, and then I became intimidated about doing it. And I would think I had to find this special block of time later on in the day and set it. And I was nervous to do it, and I would not get it done during the day. And it actually showed me, wait a second, you've got a kind of a block here with this one element. You're scared of actually taking action on it. So I then started putting that at the very first thing in the day. That was what I did after I read my Bible and prayed, grabbed some breakfast. That was what I've been working on, and I've been accomplishing that. So it's been teaching me some really, really cool things. We want you guys that are listening to the show here to join us on our adventures. And so we're going to put a link in the show notes below where you can actually go and you can download a PDF version of the first act for yourself. It's free. You just give them your email address. They're going to send you that PDF, and they're also going to send you tips for how to use the journal yourself. That way you can join us on our quest. And we're going to be talking a lot more about this over the next several episodes. We can't wait to have you join our little fellowship. Make sure you download that today.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
All right, headline one, ban. Try to say Ben Affleck quickly. Say it four times fast. Go.
No.
Say it, Nathan. Can you do it?
Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Show off.
Just me. Ben Affleck playing Batman again after The Flash.
What?
Yeah. If there's one source cited by Giant Freaking Robot that I have even less confidence in than their trusted and proven sources, it's the source for this latest headline. Grace Randolph got awfully excited last week about some rumors she claims to have heard about Ben Affleck's Batman in the Twitter storm caused by the announced delay of the Flash movie. It's now releasing June 23rd, 2023. Randolph began to flood her account with lots of conversation about Ben Affleck, including her sources who claim that his ending in the Flash movie will now change. And she's also claiming that the Snyderverse will be continuing on. Of course, we'd love to see that happen. I just don't believe her hype with it. So what it sounds like is that she has heard something. We'll just have to wait and see if she's right on that. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a clickbait level 6.
That's not too bad. Not terrible. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
I think that's our lowest,
except for last week when you had a 1. Yeah.
Our lowest genuine clickbait.
Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe reacts to being Hugh Jackman's Wolverine replacement. Now, epicstreams.com's slight variation on this common headline regarding an interview Daniel Radcliffe did with comicbook.com might have slipped your notice, but if you're scrolling through the socials and you saw it, it's easy to believe that the headline suggests that the Harry Potter star is actually replacing Jackman as Wolverine in the MCU. Every other headline states that Radcliffe's comments are about a rumor.
So he's just talking about the rumor that's out there.
Right, yeah. So this headline actually from Epic Stream suggests he's actually replacing him. So got you to click. This is going to clickbait level 8.
Exactly.
Yes. The Batman's director's cut Superman and Wonder Woman in 4-hour movie. Now, I'd love a 4-hour long The Batman, but even Matt Reeves himself said that that's not going to happen. We've got a first timer here on Bad News. This headline comes from Fortress of Solitude, obviously a DC friendly website. The article says that the original 4-hour cut of The Batman, which is true, there was one, included Henry Cavill's Superman and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Too bad that the Batman's writer and director, Matt Reeves, has gone on record multiple times stating he doesn't want any of those characters in this Batverse.
How would that fit into the story?
It wasn't. If you read the article, it was just a couple. It wasn't even Gal Gadot or Henry Cavill. It was just a couple people in a Superman and Wonder Woman outfit when he's walking through Gotham City during Halloween night.
Oh my word.
Let's get to clickbait level of 10.
Holy cow.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. All right. BB Nate, you just get to keep going. Let's go.
I do. Yes, Superman and Lois had a lot of big things happen this week, but it also started to fall victim to the CW curse.
Ouch.
Let's talk all about it.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Batman has no limits.
It just became super predictable in this episode, and the writing has started to fall off a lot from the actually well done writing we got in the first season. So it's starting to fall into The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, dare I say Batwoman.
Well, I don't know. We haven't
kind of traps.
Yeah. Okay.
Of just, you know what's going to happen in the episode. The writing is so predictable. We were predicting lines before they even happened in this episode. So it's just kind of like, okay, where's the magic sauce from the first season that made it so special? We need that back. So
this season's been kryptonite for it, huh?
It has. And I was actually wondering if it was going to be.
Yeah.
But overall, Dad, what did you think of this episode, first of all? Rating of 1 to 10. I don't know.
I like the Superman stuff.
Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10.
You're watching a Superman show for Superman?
Like 6, maybe 5.
Yeah.
5.5 probably out of 10 on this one. It's by far gotten worse each episode this season.
Exactly. I agree. It's been pretty lackluster. Hopefully they can change it up here pretty soon. But let's start off with Superman and Tal-Rho in this episode. Probably the best part of this episode. Why the 0.5 for you? But we see Clark and Tal. I'm going to call him Tal and then Tal-Rho at other times. It feels weird.
Okay.
We see Clark and Tal working together.
Cal and Tal.
Cal and Tal, yes, working together in this episode, and they honestly work pretty well with each other. We find out that on Bizarro's world, he and his version of Tal-Rho were inseparable until Tal-Rho was killed. Eventually, we see Tal-Rho get saved by Superman after Tal-Rho sacrificed himself to save Clark from showing a slightly stronger bond between them starting to form. Now, Sammy, it seems like brotherly bonds are hard to break no matter how strange they are. Do you think by the end of this season, we could see Clark and Tal-Rho becoming closer because of that fact?
I think it would be cool to see Tal-Rho become even more of like a good guy because of the brotherly aspect of things. I mean, you see the brotherly concept in stories from time to time, but it's not very often. The only thing that really comes to mind that really played on it was Onward. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And that movie was fantastic, and it did really well with that story. And that storyline can be very, very impactful. I mean, obviously, we're a little biased because of it, but there is definitely something to be said about the bond that brothers share, even if they've tried to kill each other at some points.
At some points, yes. Now, Dad, did you see Tal-Rho's sacrifice coming?
I didn't. That was unpredictable in this episode. My favorite part of this episode with this. And I do think that we're going to see them bond. I don't know if it's going to happen all the way through the rest of the season, but if they're planning future seasons and they do get to make them, maybe, then
Batwoman's still running.
That's true. So then they're definitely making them. So then I think that we're going to see them come together. It's like the mirror of the Bizarro universe. So in the Bizarro universe, they were always inseparable. Now they're going to grow to that point as they move forward. So I think that's definitely going to happen.
It's mirrored.
And
it is.
Did you catch on the fact that Lana was Tal-Rho's wife in the Mirror universe?
No.
You didn't catch on that fact?
I didn't.
And she's single now.
Oh, this is weird.
This is bizarre.
See, it's when you start getting into like the Smallville drama in this that this show starts to fall apart for me.
But when you have that kind of stuff.
But that one's actually an interesting part.
Exactly, because she turned bad. She got powers and turned bad in Bizarro's universe. And he mentioned that. He said, until your wife betrayed me and tried to kill me. And we see that in the
oh, wow. Okay.
Part.
All right.
Yeah, so that part was really interesting. Now, early in the episode, we do see Tal-Rho almost try to kill a guard when he and Clark are escaping, but Clark stops him and he actually listens this time. Now, Dad, do you think that Tal-Rho felt off in this episode because of how he acted in certain ways, or are we having good character growth?
I think they're trying to have good character growth.
It's a little rushed.
As best as CW.
It didn't. It sneaks up. It wasn't like you saw anything that indicated this was going to happen earlier in the season, and all of a sudden it's like, oh,
okay,
exactly. And so I do. I mean, we're in season 3 of The Flash.
We are.
We're taking the slow burn when it comes to our Flash rewatch.
We are. It's been a while.
But season 2 struggled a lot. Season 3 has been better than season. Do you agree?
Oh, of course, 100%. Like season 3 has felt shorter, and we're already almost close to the end.
Yeah. So I think that I
guess season 2
they struggled with season 2 in The Flash, and I'm hoping that that this is what's going on. They're going to find their legs with this as well. So
that was a good joke. Yeah. Bizarro. Let's talk about him. Bizarro wasn't in this episode actually too much, but when he was, he definitely made his mark. Now we do see him fighting Mitch Anderson hopped up on XK, and he holds his own pretty well till Mitch finds out that XK hurts Bizarro, and then it's just over. Mitch ends up killing Bizarro for good. Now, Dad, what did you think of this? A good thing or a bad thing killing Bizarro off?
Well, I'm going to stop and say I'm still not not giving up hope that the Mitch Anderson on XK becomes Outburst at some point. I think that makes sense. As far as killing off Bizarro, I wanted it to be at the climax of this story, not in the middle not
even before the middle.
6th or 7th episode in it. It's kind of like they just didn't know. Now I don't know where we're going with this show. I mean, we didn't
could still have Doomsday somehow.
Yeah, maybe his like decomposing body is gonna turn into Doomsday.
It could happen.
No, I don't think so.
That
would be the strangest origin for Doomsday.
Hey, they took Zod's dead body and turned it into Doomsday.
This is true.
That made sense, and that's not actually Doomsday, okay? We all know this.
It's not?
It's not.
He killed Superman.
Well, that's just that version. The real Doomsday's out there. That was mentioned in the little thing.
And the little thing.
Because a Doomsday was already made, and that's why it was banned from Kryptonian stuff in that universe.
And
the Doomsday's
that's actually a good point.
out there.
That's a good point.
See?
I stand corrected.
I know my Snyderverse.
Yeah, don't argue with him.
Let's talk about Mitch Anderson. Outburst, hopefully.
Did I jump the gun?
No, not really. Kind of. Well, Mitch Anderson is just out of his mind officially in this episode. He's crazy. He takes XK, tries to kill Superman, and I guess he kind of succeeded in a certain way of killing Superman. But at the end of the episode, we see Mitch going to Ali Alston.
He was taking XK more than an 80s Wall Street guy do with cocaine, man.
One thing of XK lasted Jordan an entire football game, but this guy
he's
was
snorting the stuff.
He was taking 2 a minute. He just was going at it, and of course
he turns into Doomsday.
No,
overdoses or something. Can you overdose on XK?
I don't. Well, I don't know, but
if anybody can, Mitch was going to do it.
He was going to find out. I mean, Bizarro kind of did, but at the end of the episode, we do see Mitch going to Ali Alston with the other piece of the pendant, allowing Ali to start her plan. Now, Dad, did you see this coming after Mitch disappeared, going to Ali?
It doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
It just doesn't make sense. I know that we need to get that in the story.
He's a bad guy.
You need to get that piece to her, but why now? Why her? Because he got kicked out of the military for being a doofus.
Well, I think because he still hates Superman, and Superman's trying to fight Ali, and he doesn't trust Superman. So if Superman doesn't trust Ali, then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Kind of thing. So I think that's what they're trying to go for with this. It's just and maybe we'll find out a little bit more.
Hope so.
On the next episode. Now, this episode was important to the story, but it seems like Superman and Lois is starting to become slightly less than our expectations from the first season. But we could be wrong by the end of this season. It's happened. So tune into Superman and Lois tonight on the CW network.
All right. Good job, BB Nate.
Thank you.
Good segment.
Did a good job.
You want to keep it rolling?
I'm not done.
I'll set you. I'll give you a chance to breathe. Looks like this, the Batman. We'll see some competition this weekend at the box office. It sure didn't happen in the past weekend. And we'll talk all about that and the new movie that seems crazy, even for Nick Cage, next on Movie Moments. Hello there, Tatooine Sons family. David here. I am sure you noticed these ads that played before the episode today. I want to warn you, there are going to be a couple more coming in just a minute and some more after the episode. So I want to explain why. We absolutely love Tatooine Sons. It's a joy to do it every week, but there are a couple of costs that are involved that you should know about. First, it costs to put the show online and distribute it through the podcast app that you're listening to it on right now. There's also production costs involving show art and our website and even expenses like going to the movies, which we'd probably do anyway, but definitely not as often as we do now. Those things add up pretty fast. On top of all of those hard costs, there is the time to plan, produce, record, edit, and promote this show. And it's a lot more than just kind of turning on a mic, recording, and throwing it online. Each episode takes more than 20 hours of work on our end to produce. And I know I already said it once. I do want to say it again. We love doing this. Producing and hosting Tatooine Sons is one of the highlights of our week. But all of those hard and soft costs have led us to a decision to include ads again on the show. These ads help defray the hard costs for each episode. But that also leads to another change for Tatooine Sons. We've restarted our Patreon program, and we're really excited about some of the things that we've added to it. There's actually 4 tiers to the program. The tiers start at as little as $5 a month to give you access to the show completely ad-free, along with our weekly interview series, which will be moving to Patreon and becoming an exclusive benefit, and then access to our Patreon community of positive, friendly, and passionate fans who love talking about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and so much more. And from there, the benefits just continue to go up. So if you love Tatooine Sons and you want to help us continue to produce positive, family-friendly conversations about the stories that you love, then you now have a couple of different ways that you can help us. You can continue to listen to the show as you always have, with a few ads inserted here and there to help cover our costs, or you can join our Patreon family for ad-free listening and so much more, whichever you choose. I personally want to thank you for being a part of our Tatooine Sons family. And of course, as always, may the Force be with you.
At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
All right, for new releases this week, the first one we have up is The Outfit. It is about an expert tailor that must outwit a dangerous group of monsters in order to survive a fateful night. The director is Graham Moore. Its cast is Mark Rylance, Zoe Deutsch. Dylan O'Brien. The studio's focus features, and it is rated R for some bloody violence and language throughout. Going, yes or no?
We saw the trailer for this. Did you watch it?
He didn't watch the trailer.
He didn't watch it? You and I watched the trailer.
It looks really good.
It does look interesting. It's one of those that I'm on the fence for right now. So
yeah, so let's go a maybe.
Yep.
That's a good way of putting it. This next one, Uma. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's probably
no, I think it's right. It's Uma.
Something else, but Uma, whatever it is. Uma which is the Korean word for mother, follows Amanda and her daughter living a quiet life on an American farm. But when the remains of her estranged mother arrive from Korea, Amanda becomes haunted by the fear of turning into her own mother. The director is also Graham Moore. Okay.
Maybe I forgot to get that one right.
Maybe. The cast is Sandra Oh, Odeya Rush, and Dermot Mulroney. Okay.
Dermot Mulroney. It's Christina Olsen is the director. My apologies.
Christina Olsen is the director.
Yep.
Of Uma.
No, wait, that's somebody else.
Uma.
That's a University of Michigan program.
They had free shout.
Director is Iris Shim.
Irish Shim.
Well, third time's a charm.
There
we got it right, though.
The studio is Sony Pictures, and it is rated surprisingly a PG-13 for terror, brief, strong language, and some thematic elements. Going yes or no?
Not happening.
Not at all.
Not
I looked up to the trailer to like get a vibe of this movie, and I saw the thumbnail. I'm like, I'm good. So I didn't watch the trailer. This next one is The Unbreakable Boy, a completely different tone than neither of the movies we just talked about. It is about a boy who has both a rare brittle bone disease and autism, but what makes Austin truly unique is his joyous, funny, life-affirming worldview that transforms and unites everyone around him. The boy's father changes his life as he comes to see Austin not as the symbol of something broken, but the triumph of an indestructible spirit. The director is John Gunn. The cast is Zachary Levi, Amy Acker, and Peter Facinelli. I think that works out.
Yeah, you got it.
The studio is Lionsgate, and it is rated PG, not 13. PG for strong thematic material, alcohol abuse, language, and some violence. Going yes or no?
Yeah, if there's only one movie that we can see this weekend, it's this one.
Probably this one, yeah.
What do you think? Do you like this? What's this one sound like to you, Sam?
I mean, it sounds interesting, although I'm probably horrible and just have a broken spirit. Usually, I'm not like for these kind of movies. Nothing against these kind of movies, and I think it's an amazing story, but I don't know.
Not your thing,
not usually my thing. I'm not usually the true story kind of guy. Give me Batman.
We'll pray for you. All right.
All right.
I know. I'm
for new trailers this week, we have a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 final trailer coming out on April 8th. It is the sequel to the 2020 live action.
That's all they had.
Feature film Sonic the Hedgehog.
Whoa, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a sequel to the original.
Did you see the
Sonic
poster is like a complete carbon copy of the game Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Mm-hmm. The new poster they just released.
Yeah. I didn't see that. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
I watched the trailer because I expected Dad to want me to watch the trailer before this.
And I told him he didn't have to.
Yeah, he didn't, but I was like halfway through it. I'm not going to not finish this.
So what'd you think?
Point. It doesn't look terrible. It looks like a fun movie. But it just does. It feels like not Sonic the Hedgehog at all. It's so confusing as to what it is. Yep. But this next movie is weird. That is a good way of putting it, and probably the only way to put it. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, coming out on April 22nd.
It's a biopic about me.
Oh, yes, it is.
You wish.
So much. A cash-strapped Nicolas Cage agrees to make a paid appearance at a billionaire superfan's birthday party, but is really an informant for the CIA since the billionaire fan is a drug kingpin and gets cast in a Tarantino movie.
Wait. The guy gets cast in a Tarantino movie too? Oh, wow. Okay.
So, we've seen this trailer a few times.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of it?
It's the weirdest concept I have ever heard of in a movie, and I desperately want to see this thing.
I kind of want to see
it too. It's crazy.
I thought I saw somewhere that it got a Red Band trailer, which has me a little worried.
Oh, it's going to be rated R.
For language.
It's going to be for language and stuff like that, is what I think.
Yeah, when you watch it, you're kind of like, this looks bizarre. I have to see it.
Exactly.
Which is what they're going for.
Right.
Yes. Now, box office projections.
No, these are actually numbers that came in.
That's what I thought. Yes. Yeah. The Batman, 68 million, because I updated my box office stuff today too, and it actually made 2 more million than other people are reporting. So it's a 68 million domestic with a 463 million worldwide.
Which means it beat The Dark Knight Rises.
It beat The Dark Knight Rises. Congratulations to Batman.
But not The Dark Knight.
No. Well, I mean, what do you expect? All
right.
Uncharted made 9 million, still having some legs in the box office. Congratulations. With a 301 million worldwide. That is really good.
It's pretty solid. For how many weekends has it been in?
About
6.
What?
Yeah,
really?
It's been like since the middle of February, like the 22nd of February or 25th of February.
Why did I feel like it came out so much more recently than that?
Maybe it did. Maybe it's just I haven't slept since then. So
301 million worldwide is actually really good for this movie, and I think it makes a bunch of sequels. Now, third place.
This one snuck up on everybody.
I guess there are a lot of K-pop fans out there. BTS Permission to Dance Live made 7.5 million domestic.
Hey.
Congratulations. You definitely made your budget up, but wow. All right.
Hey, if that's your thing.
It was a live concert, wasn't it?
It was a live recording, I think.
Okay.
Like played in movie theaters, but that's a lot of,
hey, it made 7.5 million. So
congratulations. Really. That's impressive.
Yep.
Go
Very
ahead.
cool.
You go.
Yeah,
good job, BB Nate.
Good job, Nate. Yeah, but there was a new movie released this week, but you wouldn't have heard it in Nathan's segment because it wasn't in theaters. Today we're going to talk about the Adam Project that was released on Netflix recently, and our thoughts about it, and on the fun stuff, and how it dealt and talked about family.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of steps and steps.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds movies. This, The Adam Project or Free Guy. Which did you like better? I'll start with you.
That's hard because both are really good. Oh, come on! You didn't.
No prep at all.
Oh, come on. I don't know. Both.
Your gut instinct right now. 1, 2, 3, go.
I'd have to say Adam Project.
All right,
really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
I'm going to say Free Guy. I mean, this one had a great story, but Free Guy was... I mean, it's tough to beat that moment when you're sitting there in the theater and he brings out the lightsaber on Cap Shield. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, this just had such a good story, it was really funny too, and the acting was well done. Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds are a duo I'm really liking with what they're doing. And yeah, I'm loving this.
The director was Sean Levy, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, before we go any further, I want to get y'all's rating on a scale of 1 to 10, not lightsabers.
Not lightsabers. I'm going to have to give this
They looked a lot like lightsabers.
They did. That was the whole joke as well. But I'd have to give this like an 8.5. I was just having the time of my life watching this movie. Time, yes, I know. It was on purpose. But it was just a lot of fun. I really loved the story. The messages they told were great. It was funny. The acting, especially with the kid, did fantastic. And he played like a young Ryan Reynolds perfectly in this movie, a young Adam. It was very well done, and it moved at a good pace. There was no points where I was like, okay, this felt off. Everything about it was just really, really good.
I liked it a lot. I'd give it an 8. With that, I thought it was a lot of fun. And the dad sons element. I mean, they ripped that ending with the dad and the two Adams straight out of Field of Dreams. The ending of that movie. I don't know. You guys have seen it.
I think I've seen
years.
It's like, Dad, you want to have a catch? And they're like,
but this was like, somehow,
which is it's like that was the last movie my dad took me to see, just the two of us. And so watching that was kind of like,
and then they disappear.
Yeah. And so it was kind of like, okay, but it's the same way, the kind of thing in the Field of Dreams. So I loved it a lot. So
yeah, I would give it an 8 as well. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
I guess I'm just positive.
It was a lot of fun. Again, a great story. Really pretty decent special effects.
Really good for made for Netflix.
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. But so first you mentioned, the father with his sons and stuff, and that was a big element to this. One of the main driving forces for Adam was the fact that he never got over the loss of his father, and he took it out on everybody, and it pretty much just drove him to become what he is in 2050. And even old Adam mentions like he confused anger with sadness and couldn't tell the two apart at some points. And then, another moment.
Well, let's stop because honestly, I was going to say the dad moment for the end. But that's like right there. That's the dad moment.
That's the dad moment
for me. So let's go ahead and just jump right in and do a dad moment.
I am your father.
So, the Adam Project it really is a surprising movie. And we've already kind of talked about this. Watching the trailer for it, it was easy to get the impression that it's only a sci-fi adventure comedy. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of a coming of age story in there too. And all of that was true. But really, like you were just saying, Sam, the surprising beauty of the Adam Project is the way that it deals with this idea of the fallout from loss. And we're going to talk more about that, I'm sure, in the segment. But young Adam is a little over a year removed from the death of his father. And we see him getting into fights at school, and maybe maybe it's because he's smaller, maybe because he just likes to run his mouth a lot, but maybe it's also because he doesn't know how to deal with the emotion and the pain that he's feeling. So he brings on kind of physical pain with it. And then you have old Adam. He's never come to grips with their father's death. Instead, he's kind of learned to move on by forgetting the good that was his father. He's kind of fabricated this memory that isn't true. He remembers that his dad worked long hours, and so he's convinced himself that those hours meant that his dad never had time to spend with him when he was a child. But then young Adam is still really kind of close enough to those memories that he's got a clearer picture of that truth. And he remembers that every evening, no matter how tired his dad was, he always made time to have a catch with him, which we were just talking about. And that's when young Adam says this quote that really grabbed me. It's easier to become angry than it is to be sad. And I guess when I get older, I forget that there's a difference. There's a lot of wisdom in that statement. Anger and sadness can feel a lot alike, but anger feels more controllable. So we often shift our emotions away from sadness because we don't like them. And then we shift them towards anger because we can then take that anger out on something or on somebody else. I think, Sam and Nate, you guys need to realize guys feel this a little bit more. We do this more often. We're told that we aren't allowed to feel sadness, but anger is more of this manly emotion. And that's just a lot of garbage with it. Sadness is real and it's good. And it helps us to know that we're alive. We don't have to reject our sadness and try to transform it into anger. We just need to know that our sadness is part of life. And so in the case of Adam, sadness proved that there was love for their father. That's what they were feeling with that. Fortunately, old Adam sees this wisdom in young Adam's statement and begins to receive that wisdom when he says, he asks young Adam, how did you get to be so smart? To which young Adam replies, well, how'd you get to be so dumb? With that. It's a funny line, but it definitely got a laugh from us. There's just a lot of truth in that. So
that was good. Yeah. And like you said, he would take time to play catch with him more and more. But when Lewis kind of, the dad gathers that his time's limited from some comments, he makes sure to spend even more time with his family at that point. And then another cool thing I noticed was kind of the whole plot or the MacGuffin, in a way, not MacGuffin, but the whole idea is a father's love can change the course of time in a way. Now, Nate, you mentioned to me that there's a similarity to Interstellar here. Can you explain that real quick?
Throughout all of Interstellar, the whole thing is love is the one thing that can transcend time. That is literally the ending of it and everything. It is such a great story, and it is a father's love in that movie that transcends time, and it shows how there is this bond between space and time and anything. And it's the bond of a father and their child that will always be true and still hold true. And it's great. Interstellar is fantastic.
You know, it's kind of weird thinking about this right now because, you know, just kind of pull the curtain back just a little bit. This morning, I'm sitting in here working on some stuff. Christy has taken Nathan to his University of Mobile for classes, and Nathan's in his class. Sam's at the University of South Alabama in his class. And Sam sends this text or this message on our group messenger that says, we're in an active shooter situation and the school is locked down. And I want you to know there's no way to describe the feeling in that moment. When you hear that, it's terrifying. And you're like, there's nothing I can do right now. It is completely out of my control. And if I could do anything, you know, physically, if I could have gotten in a car and get over there, unfortunately, just kind of to spoil the ending of the story, and
I died.
A happy ending was it was a malfunction in their system that caused the lockdown.
Malfunction.
And that's awesome that it was a malfunction and not something worse. But it was like there was just this helpless feeling that you would do anything, and all I could do was pray. All I could do was just, you know, get people I knew about to be praying for the safety of everybody involved. And so, you know, this movie does capture this idea of the love of a father for his child. And it's something that was really special about this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, piggybacking off of that, Dad, you're the resident dad here. What were your thoughts on once Lewis knew that his time was limited, he spent even more time with his family? What were your thoughts on that scene?
It's a really hard dynamic to think about because as a dad, you feel this obligation to provide for your family and to work hard in order to offer the best opportunities for your kids. And so you feel this like pressure all the time to perform at a higher level. But I also remember a song that was popular in sort of like Christian music back when I was literally your guys' age, you know, like 17, 18 years old, with that. And it was called Daddy Slow Down. He's like, you know, it's this kid that's, you know, you're going to his dad and asking his dad to slow down. He's like, we want you around. We've got a big enough car. Mm-hmm. We've got enough cars. We've got a big enough yard. He's like, Dad, I just want you around. And it just reminds me, it's something that's always stuck with me that, you know, there may be times where I have to just sacrifice what I think we need for what I know is right. And that is to be present for my kids. And so
then you got Cats in the Cradle.
And that's like that's another one. It's very similar. Yeah, absolutely with that. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of the flip side to this is Adam's relationship with his mom that we see in this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's being a jerk to her towards the beginning. I mean, that's no better way to put it. He's being a jerk to his mom. And we get this line from older Adam saying that he still, 30 years later, feels sick to his stomach every time he thinks of the way he treated her. And then later on, he's at a bar and she ends up at the same bar. Old Adam, obviously not young Adam. And through conversation, he learns that she's trying to seem like she's got everything okay for young Adam, because she needs to be strong, because of the loss. And then we see, you know, and old Adam tells him that he needs to see that. She needs to show him the fact that,
that she's still hurting.
She's still hurting. Yeah. Dad, when he told Ellie this, why do you think it's important to have to do that sometimes, to show people that you don't necessarily have it all together?
Well, I mean, I think there's different elements to that. I think that there is way too much public, like to total strangers demonstration of what's going on in your life. I think that it's, you know, so I disagree to some extent with the idea that you should show everybody what's wrong, right? I don't think that like your Facebook feed and your Twitter feed should have every problem that you ever experience and all of your frustrations and stuff like that. And I see people do that and I'm like, it's just none of my business what's going on in your life. And really it hurts me sometimes because I realize after a while that maybe these people don't have anybody in their real world to be able to share these things with. So, you know, I keep a lot of my frustrations and fears and hurts and sadness and stuff. I keep that to myself. unless I'm in a situation with you guys and with mom. That's my family unit. It's very rare that I share that outside of our family unit, maybe with a couple of friends once in a while, but that's it. And I think it's important to understand the difference. Publicly, I don't need to tell the world all my problems, but I have the opportunity within our family to share that. And I think that it's important for me to do that, because then that demonstrates to you guys that it's okay to share that with your family and to be open about it. And that's the way to process it, is within your family unit. And so I think that that's one of the things that's going on in this story that's really good too.
Yeah. And then at the end, at the very end of the movie, we know that their memories kind of reverse, but there might be little hints, little echoes. Of things they learned. And then we see Adam still kind of being a little bit of a jerk to his mom there for a second. But then something switches and he goes and gives her a big old hug. Nate, what were your thoughts at the end there when he kind of pivoted on that?
It was great. It showed growth and showed again that there's this feeling of a bond between a parent and a child that's always there. And he never wanted to be mean to his mom. It's just he didn't know what to do. And so that was just something he did. And it hurt his mom.
He didn't know how to process his emotions because he wasn't seeing his mom process her emotions. And that's exactly what I was trying to communicate.
Yeah, it was exactly. And so that was amazing. And then showing Ryan Reynolds' character at old Adam, just how much it hurt him, how he treated her. And he didn't want that to happen to his younger self. It was really awesome. I loved that in this movie.
Speaking of like older Adam and younger Adam, I mean, we can't talk about this movie and not talk about the two Adams interacting, because that was 90% of the film. Overall, what did you guys think about all like the fun interaction between the Adams, like from start to finish?
I thought it was great. I thought the young version of Adam was spot on Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds, he's got a type. His roles, it's Free Guy, it's to some extent Daredevil.
Daredevil?
He's one of the few
Deadpool
actors that doesn't fit into roles. Roles are made for him, and he plays himself in all of those roles. You don't see that a lot with many actors. But.
Yeah. And so the younger version of him just nailed that character with it. He's actually a pretty genius little actor in that.
I hope we get to see more of him in other stuff, but I really loved the interactions between those two. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad it started off early and it kept going through the movie in all the right moments too. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it'd be cool if we saw these two work together in more films. Sometimes you'll see like older actors and young actors work together in multiple things. So it'd be cool. But, it was cool to see the older Adam though investing in younger Adam with like the whole, anger to sadness. I mean, it worked both ways. Younger Adam helped older Adam, and older Adam helped younger Adam and stuff, especially with like the bullies. That was a great scene. But, Dad, they kind of took the whole, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing concept to like a whole new level in this movie. What did you think about that?
I loved it. I mean, it's something that, there's these, sometimes you get these questions on social media. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and tell them teach them a lesson in 3 words or something, what would it be? I've often said, fail big often. Don't be afraid to make big, massive mistakes. They're not that big a deal. You're always, we have seen, and listeners to this podcast don't know our life that much. We give you glimpses into our story sometimes, but we've had a lot of stuff happen in our lives, and we've been all over, and we've had moments that would before they happened, you look at these moments in your life and you think that's devastating. We're never going to recover from these moments. And then you recover. And so you look back on that. If I could go back to my 16-year-old self, my almost 21-year-old self, and teach you guys one thing, it would be fail big often. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to be the end of the world. Take lots of risks. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of failing. And so, there's those moments that you get to go back. I love the idea in this.
Yeah. Well, the Adam Project was a welcome surprise, a pleasant surprise for us. And we were excited to see it, but it well exceeded our expectations, I think. Now, if you want to have a great time while still getting, as we've discussed, a really impactful and great story, make sure to check out The Adam Project on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it's out.
And it's free. You don't even have to go to the theater.
Well, unless
or
you
pay for
don't
overpriced popcorn.
Unless you don't have Netflix, then you.
That's true. Then it's not free.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah, Disney Plus released a new Moon Knight featurette to hype the show, premiering on March 30th, which is a lot sooner than you think it is.
It's
true. Quick.
It's like 12 days or no, 15. It's like 2 weeks.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, we get 2 more days so we can actually, finish Daredevil, Sam.
Oh yeah, that's right. It'll be coming back on that. Yeah, that featurette has got some cool stuff in it. So
it does. It's really awesome. Now, Matt Reeves is already hyping a deleted scene from the Batman. Now, this deleted scene actually showed Batman going to Arkham Asylum and talking with Joker to get into the head of the Riddler because he didn't quite know and understand him.
I'm excited to see the deleted scene.
I'm excited to see this. Yeah. I'm super excited to see it. Absolutely. And I'm glad they didn't include it because I wanted Joker to be a little bit more mysterious. That would have been good for just like you're in the world, but it just would have felt pretty off.
It would have been good if they had gotten done making this movie and saying we're never going to be able to make another one, so let's include it. But the fact that they didn't pull that in there means that we may be getting more of this character in the future. I'm excited about that. HBO Max orders the Batman spinoff, The Penguin. We've talked about that already. It's going to be starring Colin Farrell. We talked about rumors of it, but they officially announced it last week.
Which is super exciting. It's going to be a great show.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Can you believe that?
We did it.
We did it. Friday's episode, again, Brian Godawa is going to be talking about dragons and demons and supernatural strength.
Triple D.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. That's not a triple D. There's no
other D in there.
Oh yeah, wait.
It's
supernatural.
It's D&D.
Yeah.
It's D&D.
Yeah.
I had like
Dragons, not
I had
Dungeons
like
and
Guy
Dungeons
Fieri,
and more Dungeons.
Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
You're thinking of Gravity Falls. We all know.
I'm all confused. All right. And thank you to our sponsors, Heroes Journal. Check out the link in the show notes where you can go and download the first act of the Heroes Journal for free and start joining us on that journey with that. And check out our Patreon page. We're doing dad moments every single day on there. Those are public. You can check those out. No cost for those, and learn a little bit more about how you can support the show on Patreon. We would very much appreciate that. And thank you so much for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
Yes, if you had a good time listening, it would be awesome if you could share this with your friends.
Yeah, and of course, the show is only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world. So if you liked it that much, be sure to like us on Facebook and join our Facebook discussion group. And follow us on Twitter to get in on all the action. And you can also keep up to date with everything we've got going on over there at TatooineSons.com.
That's right. Don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss our next episode. And give us a review, please. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you want to for whatever podcast app you prefer. And anything else you guys would like to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Joy, please.
Yep, yep.